Welcome to the Nola podcast. Raw, honest, relatable experiences that help us grow. Are you subscribed? If not, what are you waiting for? Go! And please, leave a review and help us grow while you're at it. Thank you.
On this episode, the season 3 finale of the TkACTN podcast. Welcome to the season 3 finale. I am super excited about this, not only because obviously we're about to go on to 4 years and I want to pat myself on the back. Shout out to my producer, Shot of Adrenaline, for being excellent, for being talented, for being all the things, and for knowing all the things. And I think even though this was the first season without Mr. Melee, I kind of feel like we made it. We were definitely interested to see, in the very beginning, interested to see which direction this will go. And we're definitely proud of the direction that we've gone. So shout out to you. Huge shout out to the listeners and the viewers. You guys are phenomenal. I always say this, and I am going to continue to say it. If you guys weren't watching or listening and chiming in and inspiring me, I really wouldn't do the podcast on this level. I really wouldn't engage in making sure things are on video and audio and all those things. What I would have been doing is probably just doing a diary. It's probably just talking on the phone or doing this in a private setting with other people. But because you guys continue to tune in and continue to be kind and you encourage me and you support, I will continue to do this for you, because I know that you guys are on the same page with me as far as focusing on experiences that help us grow. And that's what this podcast is all about, growing from the things that we've experienced. Now, other than Mr. Melee not being with us for this season, and actually he was with us for one episode. Other than that difference, what was different about season 3? So season 3 gave us the opportunity to jump into really focusing on experiences that help us grow, right? So obviously there was a season 1, there was a season 2. And during those seasons, we kind of just, gave out resources and tapped into different things that can support people and help people and educate people, and kind of, change your perspective a little bit. So very, very proud of that. Very, very excited about moving forward. And what we started to implement into season 3 is a little bit of what we're going to go crazy about in season 4. And that is experiences that help people grow, like actually focusing on storytelling and focusing on things that people have gone through and how they've overcome those things. We started doing a little bit of that. So season 3 was really a merger of what happened in the first 2 seasons and a little bit of what's going to happen in season 4. And what's also going to happen in season 4 is a more robust version of storytelling. So we're going to have some really amazing people with some really compelling stories. And those stories, the purpose of the stories, it's really to kind of walk through the life of other people, see how they've maneuvered certain things, and hear from their experiences how it's helped them grow. And hopefully it can help you tap in and grow as well. So obviously, with everything you do, there's going to be a moment when you're challenged or there are going to be many moments. Now, let me tell you about my challenge for season 3. This is something that I've spoken about very briefly on social media, and I'll share a little bit more with you guys right now. So my biggest challenge for season 3 was maneuvering through a back injury that was very debilitating. Believe it or not, actually, one of my favorite things about the way we do this podcast is we record in bulk in advance. So we have a bunch of episodes stockpiled ready to distribute over a span of months to a year, right? So we have all of these episodes. And during the time when I had to go through my recovery and rehab to get back on my feet, literally, I did not come into the studio for about 2 or 3 months. I kind of feel like I'm lying, because if I'm thinking correctly, I'm lying. It was about 6 months. You know, a huge difference. It was about 6 months that I was out of the studio, did not record anything. Not only was I physically in pain, but mentally, I just didn't want to even try to work through that and create. You know what I mean? I just took that moment, healed up, went through my rehab, and now I'm sitting here and I'm feeling amazing, happy that we had those episodes. So even during the time when I could not physically come in to record, guess what? We had the episodes available and we were still able to drop them in a timely manner. And I'm so grateful for that part. So that was my challenge for season 3. Now, in spite of the challenges that take place, there are always beautiful moments, right? And I would love to take this moment to go into those beautiful times that popped up during our episodes. And here they are. All right, so my first favorite moment of season 3 happens to be from the very first episode, which was with my mom, Healing with Mom. And there was a moment when, first of all, the whole idea of sitting with my mom and going through this healing journey, that's really the foundation of why I love this so much. But then there are funny moments within that. And there was this little moment where I attempted to defend my dad, which is something that I learned in therapy. You know, if your parent or someone else does something that you resent, and instead of walking around holding resentment against that person, what you can do is defend their actions. So in this moment, I was kind of defending his actions. So my mom said something and I explained to her why he must have done it. And her facial expression is the reason why this is my favorite moment. Check it out.
The stuff that he denied you, you know, he denied you.
Yeah.
And it was hard.
Yeah.
Very hard. Because one time he said, oh, yes. One time he's in, one time he's out, you know.
He was scared.
Huh?
He was scared.
I guess so. I can't talk for him.
Yeah, he was scared.
Okay.
I think that's like a natural human response.
Yes.
He was scared. He screwed up.
Yes.
Yeah, she was like, I can't talk for him. And her facial expression had me dying. I have watched that part so many times. So my second favorite moment is from episode 5 with Jasmine Kears. It's quick tips to eat healthy. I really love this part because I love this moment because what she did was reassured people that in spite of how big and scary a diagnosis might sound and the programming that came with that, there are simple solutions many times, and you can overcome a lot of these illnesses and diseases, right? So I specifically like this moment because I felt like she gave a whole lot of people hope, and that made me feel so good. Let's check it out.
Yes,
Or
recently.
were you just like,
No. I've had, like I said, I've had my ups and downs with this journey. But recently I went to the doctor and I had high blood pressure. And this was this year. No, not 2023, 2022, the end of 2022. I was under a lot of stress. I had lost my job and trying to build this business, doing something I've never seen before. And I was under a tremendous amount of stress.
Wow.
And when I went to the doctor, they said, you know, your blood pressure is very high. I think it was like
Wow.
140 over something. And my blood pressure is usually relatively low.
Yeah.
And it was in that moment where I was like, Jazz, you got to do something.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I started to do some research on, they wanted to put me on medication. And obviously,
Of course.
I am not an advocate for medication. Not to
Yeah.
say it's not good for you, but
Right.
for me, it doesn't work for me.
Same.
So I started to do some research on what types of juices I could make for myself, and my beatbox that I make for everyone was it for me, because
Okay.
beats helps to lower
Right.
blood pressure.
Yeah.
So I started to have that. I started to make sure that I wasn't eating any processed food, because even as being plant-based, we could get caught up in processed foods.
That sodium will do it,
Yes,
baby.
yes. I started to relieve a lot of stress through prayer, getting up in the morning, making myself get up in the morning.
Being more intentional.
Very much intentional about where my mental space was going to be, and just really taking charge of my day. Like, I wasn't just waking up and letting the day happen to me. You know, I was waking up, this is what I'm doing for me today. Before I get into this world and start helping everybody else, I'm going to help me. And lo and behold, I want to say a month later, my blood pressure has been regular. Thank God, no issues with that.
Is wow.
And it wasn't because medication. It wasn't because somebody put me on a regimen. I made myself my own client.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. There are so many people who have gotten a diagnosis like that, and you know what? They went down after that, either because they're not educated enough to realize that there is hope, that you can do something about it. And with hearing her say that, I know somebody's life was saved. That makes me feel so good. And that's why that was another one of my favorite episodes. Or I should say favorite moment. Another one of my favorite moments is from episode 20, Insecure, featuring Roxy. I love this one because the point of having a conversation about being insecure and insecurities wasn't about shaming. It wasn't about finger pointing. It was strictly about removing that shame. And how do you remove the shame? Acknowledging that everybody is insecure in some way. I'm not saying 100% of people are insecure, but the vast majority of us have something that, you know, we're not comfortable about, or we kind of don't want to give other people the opportunity to notice. And it comes from life experience. And you can't shame a person because of their sum of experiences and how they are learning to process that and move through it and heal. So let's check out this moment.
Go through that. And
Right.
and I'm mentioning that because insecurity is something that we use to shame other people. Oh, she insecure, so that means what? You're gonna throw me off the planet, like, you know.
We are insecure, everyone.
We are all insecure about
Right.
something on some level. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation. I did not want to have this conversation and to shame people and say,
Right.
oh, people be insecure. That's not it. And me telling the story about the woman at the event wasn't to highlight her insecurity. It was just, I thought that experience was interesting. I was like, wow, I thought about it for a while. And I am an observer, so I know that you are too.
Yes.
And I remember the first time meeting you at your event,
Mm-hmm.
there was just so much going on in the room.
I was just thinking that.
There was so
Right
much
now.
going on in the room.
So as you can see, we are encouraging people to figure out what they're uncomfortable with and do that in peace, right? We're all hiding in some way. For many of us, it's exhausting, and some people ultimately end up in very dark spaces because of it, with substance abuse, with suicide and abusive behaviors and committing crimes, and there's a whole plethora of ways people react to this, and you would be surprised and shocked that when you tap into the reasons why people, act out in those ways, that the core of it is insecurity. So let's tap into you guys and what your favorite moments were, or your favorite episodes rather. All right. So this is based on the ones that you guys have viewed and listened to the most. And our number 3 favorite episode that you guys seem to love the most is episode 7, Ask a Therapist with Nadiria John. Let's see why you guys love that episode so much.
Pusher. So yes,
I love it. And you want to be pushed, right? Mm-hmm. You want to evolve. That's the whole point of showing up to therapy. So
absolutely.
Next question for you. I can't afford therapy, but I'm sad most of the time, and I know I need help. What can I do to feel better?
Okay. So a few things. First thing I would say is I think it's important to consider therapy an investment in yourself. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people say that they can't afford therapy. Mm-hmm. And for some people that might be true, but I think a lot of people don't 100% see the value in spending money on therapy. Mm. Therapy, I say, is the gym for your mind, right? Mm-hmm. Because we all know that we have to go to the gym. I think the world is aware of that now. We have to mm-hmm. exercise. We have to take care of our bodies. Mm-hmm. I think that people aren't seeing the value in in therapy, mm-hmm. because you can't physically see it, right? It's something that's happening up here. Right. But
sometimes the process takes a while.
And sometimes the process takes a while. And so I think that people don't always think it's a worthy investment, but it is an investment in yourself that I think is worthwhile. And I think the people that are doing it yourself, you just mentioned that you pay out of pocket. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure for you to be spending the money that you work very hard on, you see the work of the value in that, right? Yeah. And so I think that's number 1. Number 2, also, a lot of therapists, including myself at my practice, North Node Therapy, we accept insurance. Mm-hmm. And a lot of therapists now accept insurance. So if you don't have it in your budget to pay out of pocket, contact your insurance company, find a therapist in your network that accepts your insurance, or call the therapist that you're interested in and ask them, hey, do you accept my insurance? And see if you can find a therapist that you want to work with that takes your insurance. Yeah. If that doesn't work, the other thing that I would say is there are therapists, again, like my practice, that we offer a sliding scale fee. Mm. And so that means that we are willing to lower our fee to meet your budget so that you can get therapy at a price that's realistic for you. Okay. There are therapists that offer that as well. So I would say that person should explore that.
And is that based on income?
That is based on your income. So if none of those options work, the other thing that I would suggest is just looking at your lifestyle overall. And looking at a few areas of your life, and I'll mention what they are, and just seeing what can you tweak, what can you work on to improve the quality of your life. So for example, I always encourage that people look at their diet, exercise, sleep, if you're an adult person, sex, hobbies, and meaningful relationships. Always assess those 6 areas of your life, because all of those areas of your life can improve your mood. Any one of those areas of your life, if you're working on them, if you're improving them, it can help to increase your serotonin levels, which is what we need to work on anyway to keep our mood up. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if we look at exercise, exercise is what they call a natural antidepressant. Right. And so we should be up, we should be moving our bodies every day. We should be exercising 4 or 5 times a week. And if you are doing that, you might notice a boost in your mood. Mm-hmm. Your diet. If you should have a well-balanced nutritional diet. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, of course, make sure you're getting in your fruits, your vegetables, to balance low carb, high protein vegetables, making sure you're getting in your omega-3 fatty acids, your magnesium, your calcium, your zinc, your multivitamin.
Yeah, I think the minerals part is a huge part of this.
Absolutely.
As well.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that what we all need to know is our brain. We need to take care of our brain. And if our brain is not functioning well, we are not going to be functioning well. And so when we exercise, we're taking care of our brain. When we diet properly, and I don't mean diet as in diet to lose weight, I just mean
Right.
monitoring what we eat and
Absolutely.
nourishing our bodies, that is going to affect our brain.
Thank you for clearing that up,
Yes,
because the word diet has a
we always,
connotation.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Sleep, getting adequate rest. As adults, we need 8 hours rest. Some people will say they need 6, some people say 7. Whatever your number is, knowing it and making sure that you're getting adequate rest to rest your body, that's important. Sex. Sex is important for adult people, right? And it should be that you're having sex in a way that serves you, that feels right to you, where you're having this close connection. That also releases serotonins and
So
other.
that eliminates promiscuity with random strangers? Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you have to assess yourself and know yourself. If you're having random sex with strangers, are you getting those same, hormones released as when you're having sex in a way that feels good to you? Everyone has to know themselves, right?
That's so deep.
Exactly. Hobbies. Having things that you enjoy doing.
You know, this is a dying thing. It's a dying thing. Honestly, it's a dying thing, because what I'm seeing is a lot of people, I want to say most. I don't like to use the word most and little and stuff like that, but I want to say most people get up, they go to work, they come home, go to work, come home, and that's it.
Yes.
Okay, so our second audience favorite episode is episode 4, how to get to know your kids. And this one happens to feature my favorite person in the world, my son, Pharaoh. Let's check it out. Ready? Okay, that was a great question, by the way. Imagine you're the teacher tomorrow at school. What are 3 things you teach that you think would help make school more useful for one's future?
Okay, so I'm definitely not gonna yell at kids, because when you yell at kids, it makes them feel like unmotivated. And I know a lot of teachers, like, they have posters up on a wall, it's like, try your best, do whatever you can. But then again, they would get mad at you for not remembering something, right? So, oh, this is not aimed, by the way, but
This is what?
this is not aimed.
Okay.
But really, I think teachers sometimes they misunderstand things that children are going through, and when they yell at them, I think it puts a lot more pressure on them. And for the next thing, I think we should have teachers like have the same humor as kids, so it can make learning a little more fun. Because I see a lot of TikToks, and there's teachers, like, they have the exact same humor as their students.
So they're relatable. Yeah. He's so awesome. I love him. And our number 1 audience favorite episode, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer because you guys are nasty. Sex Outside the Box, featuring Teresa Nicole. I mean, if you listen to the title, you kind of see why so many people gravitated towards it. Let's check it out.
But then you told me it was an alternative type of party.
Yes.
What type of event was that?
Okay, so it's called a desire party. We make a joke in it saying that it's not a sex party or, play party.
But is there sex?
If you want
to
happen, it can happen, but it doesn't have to happen.
Got it.
I like to call it conscious sex because it was a very spiritual experience.
All right, so for the next part, I want to give a shout out to all of our season 3 guests. I am going to go down the line of everybody starting from episode 1. So huge shout out to my mom, Rosa Rodriguez, Teresa Nicole, my son Pharaoh, Jasmine Kears, Nadiria John, Jatia Jones, Shanice and Sharina Clark, Sasha Jones, Triana Duville, Simona Brooms, Norma Stanton, Aya Thomas, Senora Lee and Ken Capnett, Roxy, and Tracy Khan. Thank you guys so much. That was an amazing, amazing season. We could not have had so much insight, so many amazing stories, so many resources without you guys. I mean, I have a lot of stories, but I love listening to other people's stories because those different perspectives, I feel like it makes life way more impactful and exciting because you're constantly learning, and learning is an integral part of growing. And that's what we're all about around here. Experiences that help us grow. All right, so let's talk a little bit briefly about what to expect in season 4. Season 4 is all about those impactful stories from those impactful people. As I mentioned before, we're going to delve deeper into those really challenging moments in people's lives that they've learned from, the lessons that they walked away with, how they took those lessons and turned them into blessings. And hopefully you guys are able to use those lessons in your own lives and grow from them. All right. So, the most important thing about this podcast that I want to keep reiterating is, and I know you guys have heard me say this before, whenever we talk about anything, it's never about a gimmick. It's never about being trendy. It's always about contributing something back to the people. And I kind of feel like this is my way of giving back to the world. This is my way of offering. This is my offering to you. And this makes me feel good. This podcast, the TkACTN podcast, is my experience. It's my experience that's helping me grow. And my wish, my hope for you is to manifest growth from experiencing me. Thank you guys so much. Gratitude. Ashe.
Thank you for tuning in to the TkACTN podcast. Created and hosted by Nola, produced by Take Action Media, theme song by Mr. Melee, sponsored by The Hills Restaurant, Brooklyn, New York. Listen to us on all podcast platforms and follow us on social media at the TkACTN podcast. Visit the thenolaroexperiencepodcast.com and connect with us via email at talkwithnola@gmail.com.